Konoha, 11 a.m. The Chunin exams were set to start in another hour. Participants were gathered at the academy where the test was to be administered. Squad 4 had intended to head there. However, their sensei ordered them to meet him at his home. Standing in the backyard with the squad in front of him, Shinji spoke. I just want to say that I'm proud of you guys. Each and every one of you has improved a great deal. I have no doubt in my mind that you guys will win. I got you guys something. Shinji started to open the box that was in front of him. Shinji had outfits specially made for his squad. Akuru and Makinu were excited. Ranpu couldn't care less. Shinji handed each member their outfit. The outfits were the same mostly, with slight alterations. Everyone had a black shirt, black sweats, and a black outfit, but again, each outfit was different. Makinu's outfit consisted of a black long-sleeve shirt with the red swirl on the back found on most Chunin vests. However, his swirl, like the rest of the outfit Shinji gave to his students, had a black phoenix in the middle. Akuru's outfit was similar, except that her shirt was a tank top. Ranpu's outfit was slightly different from the others. The difference in his outfit was that on the right breast of the black sleeveless shirt, the Hyuga symbol could be seen. Ranpu didn't want to admit it, but he liked the outfit a lot. Shinji watched as they gave the outfits a once-over. I figure it's the least I could do for you guys. After all, the Phoenix represents that I'm with you in spirit, and to have a never die attitude. You are Squad 4, the best damn Genin squad in this tournament. Show them what you're capable of. Makinu pumped his fist in the air. Hell yeah, we're the greatest squad. Watch, Shinji-sensei. I'm gonna kick ass in this exam. Shinji was glad that he was confident. The boy would need it. That's the spirit. If you guys want to change, you can change inside the house. Ranpu wanted to ask Shinji something before he went to change. Sensei, what about our weights? The group turned to look at Shinji. Keep them on. I'll tell you guys when to take them off. Also, you guys should hurry. The exams are in another hour. Squad 4 knew they didn't have time. They went inside the house to change into their new outfits. 30 minutes later, Squad 4 had finally arrived at the academy for the exam. When they entered the classroom, Makinu looked around and he couldn't believe how many people were actually taking the exam. Sitting in the far left of the room was that Cloud Squad. Changed glances with Jikoku. The boys continued their staring contest until Makinu heard a voice that he hadn't heard in a long time. So, you guys are here as well. This should be interesting, the mysterious black-haired, brown-eyed teen said. Kisuke, Tashita, and Futeki, what are you guys doing here? Akuru asked Kisuke. Futeki, the black-haired, light brown-eyed Genin answered. What do you think we're doing here, Akuru? We're here for the exams, just like you guys are. So it seems we all made it after all. Didn't believe Tenzo-sensei, but I guess he was right about it being 6 years since the rookies from the current graduating class taking the exams. How are you guys doing? Fungazan, Yogan, a black-haired and black-eyed Genin. Makinu turned to see Squad 8 walking up to the group. I see you, Nero, and Yasumi made it as well. Nero, the brown-haired, green-eyed Genin of Squad 8 spoke. Damn right we made it. We trained like hell. We're gonna crush all squads coming our way. Yasumi, the black-haired, blue-eyed Genin shook her head. Don't worry about him. He's just a little excited. How are you guys? It's been a while since I saw any of you. Akuru spoke. We're fine. Can't wait until this exam gets underway though. Futeki flashed Akuru a grin. Don't tell me you're getting nervous. By the way, what's up with the similar outfits? Makinu jumped in. Our sensei gave them to us. They're bitchin', right? Squad 4 is so cool. Kabe Tashita, the brown-eyed, black-haired, with orange tips member of Teammates spoke for the first time. Hey Makinu, who the hell is Mr. Perfect eyeballing? Everyone turned to look at Ranpu, who in turn was looking at the shinobi from the Cloud Village. Makinu turned back to Tashita. We ran into their squad yesterday. I think Ranpu wants to fight that kid with the ice blue eyes. Yogan turned to Makinu, then back to the Cloud Shinobi. He must be an amazing opponent if Ranpu's focus lies on him. Makinu pointed to Jikoku. I don't care about these other losers, as long as I get to kick that asswipe, then I'm at peace. A member from a rock squad observed a boy who basically disregarded their worth. One member whispered to his teammate. That kid thinks this is a game. I see. I'm gonna scare him a little. Makinu wasn't paying attention to the movement that the rock ninja made. Ranpu took his eyes off of Rado and looked at the incoming ninja, who was zeroing in on his teammate. Everyone in the room, well, almost everyone, was shocked by the rock ninja's speed, and before Yogon could react, a punch was planted into Makanu's face. The force of the punch sent the boy flying into the wall across the room. The rock ninja started laughing. You shouldn't talk so much, kid, like you're such a superior fighter when you're so weak. Feeling a gaze on him, he turned to Ronpu. What the hell are you looking at, kid? You want some too? The smirking Ronpu pointed where the Genin squad member were sitting. The rock Genin turned to see Makanu standing on top of the desk smiling. He narrowed his eyes at the kid. Everyone was shocked, except Bakuru and Ronpu. Yasumi's eyes were wide in shock as she spoke. What the, but how? Ronpu answered a question while speaking to the rock Genin that attacked. My teammate may be an idiot, but he does have some skill. Besides, if I thought he was in any real danger, I or Akuru there would have stopped you without hesitation. You should stay quiet now since you are the one proven weak, Jokoku whispered to Suki. That squad might be a problem. Even that kid has some speed on him. Suki nodded. Rado spoke. That squad, they're good. That Ronpu kid saw the attack before it even came. That Akuru also saw it, but pretended to ignore it. That kid used a Karoimi before he even was hit. We have to keep our eyes open for them, okay? Suki and Jokoku both nodded. Ronpu turned away from the rock ninja. I don't have time to waste with someone like you. I have bigger fish to fry. The rock ninja lost it. He went to attack, but a puff of smoke appeared in front of him. When the smoke cleared, a man standing 4 inches above 6 feet, with the leaf headband wrapped around his head like a bandana, and a couple of scars going down his face, was looking down on him. Ibiki spoke in a calm voice, but with authority. You scum, take your seats. I decide who fights and who doesn't. I swear it's the same every year with you brats. Everyone started to walk to their seats. Okay, now that that's done, let me introduce myself. My name is Ibiki Morino, and I'm the proctor for the first exam. Now, listen up because I'm gonna say this once. The first exam is a 10-question test with 2 parts. The first part is 9 questions, the second part is the 10th and final question. You have an hour total for the exam and 45 minutes for the first part of the test. After that, the 10th and final question will be given. Each question is worth 1 point. If you answer the question incorrectly, 2 points gets deducted from your total score. If any of you get caught cheating 5 times by the exam proctors on your left and right, then you and your team is disqualified. Whether you pass or fail will be determined by your team's total points. Some of you will be forced to leave here without your test being graded. If one member on your squad gets a 0, you all fail. Remember, those who try to cheat without thinking carefully will only hurt themselves and their team. All of you are trying to become Chunins, so if you're going to act like a ninja, act like a first-rate one. Ibiki looked around the room. He could see the sweat coming from some of the Genins. They were nervous, and that was good. He wondered how many would pass this test this year. He would have his answer in an hour. Somewhere in the village, Yumi was watching Hayami as she sat and ate her ramen. Hayami was watching the little girl in amusement. The way she was eating that ramen reminded her of Naruto so much. When Yumi informed her that he was the one that turned the girl onto ramen, it wasn't a surprise. Hayami finished the bowl. Thanks for the meal, Ayame. Your ramen is the best. Ayame smiled at the girl. Her father placed another bowl in front of the girl. You get another bowl for such a compliment like that. Hayami looked at the owner of Ichiraku and said in a happy tone, "Thank you so much, sir." She then proceeded to dig into the contents of the bowl. Yumi, who placed her elbow on the counter to support the hand that held her cheek, just laughed at the little girl. Hayami wiped her mouth with a napkin, and she then turned to Yumi. "Big sister Yumi, Big brother Naruto should be back soon, right?" A certain Joni from Cloud, who was sitting at the opposite end of the stand playing with her noodles, was listening intently. She was curious to who this young lady with the girl was. Probably nobody important. Yumi responded to Hayami. "Well, he did say he would be back around this time, but I don't know. I guess we'll see him when we see him." Hayami asked the girl one more question. "Big sister, are you and big brother going to get married?" Yumi nodded. "Yes, someday, but it wouldn't be a wedding if you weren't there." Kumoko gave a sinister smile. This day was getting better and better. Interesting, he has a fiancé as well. Killing them both would definitely force him to seek me out. Kumoko placed her money on the table and walked past the two as she exited the place. She would keep an eye on them from the shadows and catch them when they left. A couple of minutes passed and Hayami was now finished with her meal. Well, I'm ready to go. Yumi turned to Hayami behind the counter. Well, I guess we'll see you two a little later. The two exited the shop. Hayami and Yumi were walking down the street just chatting about little things. "Where is Big Sister Tamari? I thought she was going to join us," Hayami asked. "She's going to meet us at the park, though Kage requested to see her, so it couldn't be helped. She'll make it as soon as she can, I'm sure. Plus Shinji is supposed to be back." Yumi's words fell on deaf ears. When Yumi turned back to look at Hayami, the girl had a look of horror on her face. Yumi walked up to the girl and bent down to her eye. "Hayami, are you okay?" Waving her hands in front of the girl, she wondered what would spook the girl. She decided to trace her eyes to the source. What Yumi saw was a red-head kunoichi, with the Cloud Village symbol on the headband wrapped around her forehead, standing about 15 feet away, smiling. Yumi looked back at Hayami and back at the lady. Oh no, the description fits perfectly. Hayami unconsciously took a step backwards. This caused Kumoko to smile. Kumoko then spoke. "So you recognize the face of your executioner, girl?" Yumi placed Hayami behind her. "I don't know what you want, but I won't let you hurt her." Kumoko's smile grew even wider. "Don't worry, I plan to kill everyone important to Naruto, you included." Yumi's stance got firmer. "You're the one that caused her so much pain. I won't let you hurt her." With every step Kumoko took, Hayami took a step back. This just excited Kumoko more. "This is going to be so much fun." "Yes, it is." Yumi turned to see a figure on the roof of a building. She couldn't really make out the person due to the brightness of the light. The person looked like a black shadow. When the light dimmed down slightly, Yumi saw someone that she was glad to see. Kumoko, on the other hand, wasn't glad to see this person. In a blink of an eye, Sasuke Uchiha was standing in front of Yumi and Hayami. With his classic grin, Sasuke spoke. "To think I was on my way to train. What better way to do it than to have a little light warm-up?" "This doesn't involve you, Uchiha. Step aside and let it happen, or die," Kumoko said. Sasuke just continued with a smirk. "If I were you, I would turn around and walk away before you piss me off. I'm not as nice as Naruto." Kumoko was pissed. Every time someone interfered. To top it off, it just had to be Sasuke Uchiha. Kumoko was confident she could take Sasuke. However, her confidence vanished when Sasuke activated his Sharingan and performed a Genjutsu. Before she realized what happened, she fell to her knees, breathing hard. Sasuke smirked at his superiority over the girl. "Pathetic. Not even worth a light warm-up. I spared you this time because I don't like killing weaklings. If you come after her again, I will send you back to the cloud in pieces." Kumoko gathered herself and stood up. "This isn't over, Sasuke Uchiha, not by a long shot." In a puff of smoke, Kumoko was gone. Sasuke looked behind him to see Hayami in a catatonic state. He spoke while looking at the girl who was breathing hard with a blank expression. "We better get her to the hospital." Yumi looked at Sasuke and at Hayami. She nodded. "Okay." Hayami couldn't move from her spot. Knowing that fear had her by its grasp, Sasuke decided to carry the girl. He looked at Yumi and motioned her to follow him. While walking, he was observing the girl. "So, she's afraid of that kunoichi. So that's the one who attacked her in the forest. I better get her to Sakura." Konoha's hospital, 10 minutes later. It took Sakura about 5 minutes to calm Hayami down to where she could talk. Sakura felt bad for the girl. That kunoichi really did a number on the girl. She was surprised to hear that Sasuke saved them. She thought that he wasn't the girl's bodyguard anymore. Sakura looked at Yumi, who was sitting next to Hayami. "Well, you guys are free to go, but I've contacted Lady Tsunade. Tomorrow should be here soon." "Well, I'll leave you in here. I have other patients I have to tend to." Sakura exited the room. Sasuke looked at Hayami, then at Yumi before going after Sakura. When he entered the hallway, he said, "Sakura, could we have a minute?" Sakura studied Sasuke for a minute. She was about to turn him down, but decided to give him a minute. Sasuke had his minute, but had no idea what to say, so he said, "How have you been?" "Okay, yourself?" Sakura asked. Good. Look, I just wanted to ask if you, well, when your ship is over, maybe you might want to get something to eat or something, Sasuke said. Sakura shook her head. You still think it's not about that, don't you? Sakura raised her voice slightly. It's not about you asking me out, Sasuke, it's about you. Forget it, I have to go. Sasuke slightly raised his voice. What do you want from me, Sakura? I'm trying here, I don't understand. Sakura just shook her head. That's the point, you don't understand. Tears threatened to fall from her eyes, but before she let him see the tears, she walked off, leaving him in the hallway by himself. Sasuke wanted to hit a wall. He asked her out, yet she refused. Not only that, he still didn't know what he did and is doing wrong with her. He decided to calm down. He peeked inside the room to see Hayami with a frightened look on her face. He remembered that look all too well. It was exactly the look he had when Itachi's face was the one he was staring at that night on the street so many years ago. It was a look of total fear. Her fear is going to consume her if she doesn't get over it. Sasuke walked off. He saw Tamari running in his direction, but he chose to walk past her without saying a word. Sasuke was lost in thought. Exiting the hospital, Sasuke headed towards the administration building. He needed to see the Hokage, and he needed to see her now. Sea Country. 6 months had passed and Shinji was last home. The compound that once resided on the mountain was a pile of rubble. When he first arrived, he was talking to officials of the country, and he didn't really have any time to see his home. Standing with some officials of Sea Country, Shinji observed the wreck. He turned to the village elder. So, what happened to the bodies? We dedicated an area of land in town to them specifically. The great Minashu clan protected this village for many generations. We had to do something honorable. You can go see it, if you like, the man informed Shinji. Shinji shook his head. No, that's something me and my cousin want to do together. So, what now? The elder questioned. Rebuild, but not right now. I have other matters to tend to, but definitely rebuild. I will restore this clan if it's the last thing I do, Shinji informed the officials that were standing on the side of him. The man, being a pervert, whispered in Shinji's ear. Well, there are so many perky-breasted women that I'm sure a guy like you wouldn't have a problem. Besides, you're a clan head, which means women would line up for you. I already found someone who caught my interest. No woman I have met or will meet can compare to her. Either way, I'm leaving. I won't be back for some time, but when I do, it will be to rebuild my clan. Shinji turned around and walked towards the steps that led down the hilltop. When Shinji arrived at the bottom, he was surprised to see the very person that captured his eye. Hinata, Jiraiya, what are you doing here? Jiraiya spoke. I figured that you want to train in seclusion until the final exams start. I know just the place. Really, but what are you doing here, Hinata? Shinji asked. Well, Jiraiya informed me that Nyce-sensei wishes to see me. He thought it would be wise if we came here to get you before we head out, Hinata explained. I'm glad. It's good to see you, Hinata, Shinji finally said. Jiraiya interjected. Well, we don't have time to waste. Hinata and I lost the Anbu squads following us. However, it won't be long until they find that we're here. If we move now, we can lose them for good. Shinji understood. He was curious about one thing. Hey, does anyone know what's going on with Naruto? Hinata looked down, illustrating she hadn't the slightest clue. Jiraiya, on the other hand, did. Well, Naruto has come back out of seclusion, but what he's doing, well, I can't really say, but we'll probably run into him well at Naya's. Shall we head out? Shinji nodded, and the three walked off. Shinji made it his personal mission to stay close to Hinata, who had no idea that Shinji thought of her in that way. In his eyes, she was perfect. He spent most of his time with her. He felt bad because his cousin did ask him to train her, but he blew the girl off. He vowed he would train her when it was over. He didn't hate Hayami, he just felt he had other things to do that would ensure their safety. Besides, she had others looking after her. However, Hinata was someone he enjoyed the company of. She was intelligent, kind, beautiful, and just unique to him in every way. Shinji was broke from his thoughts when Hinata was trying to get his attention. Shinji, are you okay? He gave a reassuring smile. Yes, couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. The group continued to the docks. Wind country. Naruto, Rin, and Sasuke stopped in the scorching desert to rest a bit. Stripped down to undershirts to get a little cooler, Naruto looked at Rin, who was sitting on a log sticking outside of the sand. When we leave Suna, I want you two to head back. I'm sure that my location and destination have been discovered. When we leave Suna, I'll probably have Bolt on me. I'll lure them away for you guys. Sasuke, who was worried, said, Naruto, you can't do that. Bolt is not some run-of-the-mill ninjas. They're all elite. They will... Rin spoke. Okay, Naruto, I understand. Sasuke turned to Rin. Rin, he's going to need... Rin cut her off. Naruto, need our help? We'll probably get in his way, Sasuke. Besides, it's easier for one person to lose a large group as opposed to 3. Respect his decision. Sasuke let out a sigh in defeat. Okay, Naruto, how long are we going to sit here? Suna has only 6 hours in that direction. We're gonna move out soon though, Naruto informed Sasuke. Rin stood up and started to stretch. Yes, we don't want to get caught in the desert at night. Naruto was finishing off a sandwich that he had stood up once it was done. You're right, let's head out now. After he gathered his things, Naruto took off in the direction of Suna. Sasuke and Rin followed. The young blonde knew that they were probably being trailed right now, but since they had an hour gap on whomever, it would be hard to catch them now. Whoever was after them would have to wait until he left Suna. Naruto didn't want to drag Sasuke and Rin into his mess. If they were looking for him, then they were going to get him. Naruto grasped the hilt of Heaven's Blade, one of the 2 swords on his back. 4 techniques and partially mastered a 5th. I should be okay even without the technique. Then there's the matter of entering the lead without being confronted by Bolt. I'm sure the Raikage has members stationed there waiting for me. Either way I look at it, I'm gonna get confronted soon. Guess I'll have to send a message to the person fortunate enough to confront me. Naruto grinned the last thought. He would have to fight soon. He was almost certain of that. 15 minutes later in the exam room, the Genins sat in the room waiting for the 10th question. There were a large number of Genins who survived the exam. Ibiki was looking at everyone. He finally spoke. Okay, here's the 10th question, but before I give it, there will be one special rule for the question. Ibiki took a step forward. This rule is a hopeless rule, but before I give the question, you are all going to choose whether or not you're going to take the question. Butiki slammed her hand against the table. What the hell do you mean choose? What happens if we choose not to take this question? Ibiki gave it to her straight. If you choose not to take the question, then your points will be reduced to 0, and you will fail the exam, and your teammates will fail along with you. The revelation shocked everyone, and it caused talking among the Genins that remained. Some were saying, "What's the meaning of this?" while others were saying, "Why won't we take it then?" Ibiki just closed his eyes. It never failed. These Genins always thought they were better than what they are. Now it was time to weed out the weak. Here is another rule for you guys, Ranpu thought to himself. Another rule? Ibiki continued. If you answer and get the question wrong, you fail, and you will lose the privilege to take the Chunin exams ever again. Everyone was shocked by this. Ibiki saw the reaction. Now let's see who's Chunin material. Kiseki stood up and shouted, "What's the fucking idea about us not being able to become Chunin if we fail? That's a dumb fucking rule. I'm sure some people took the exam last year and they're here as well." "Shut up and sit down," Ibiki shouted. He then started to laugh. "I make the rules here, not you. You're all unlucky enough to have me as your proctor. So, what's it gonna be? Take the question or leave for that exam in 6 months? Remember, choose your decision carefully." A random Genin raised his hand. "I quit. Sorry guys, but I don't want to be a Genin forever." There was another Genin who raised his hand. That was followed by another, then another, until there were more and more Genins raising their hands, calling it quits. The proctors who were sitting on the side were marking off the names of all who quit. Akuru looked around to see Genins starting to quit. She then looked at Ranpu and Makinu. "If we fail here, then none of us will be able to become Chunin. In order to become Jonin, you need to become Chunin first. I can't let him lose his dream. 6 months ago, I didn't even care about him, but now, He's like my best friend, and I'll fight for his dream, because I know he would fight for mine. Akuru was about to raise her hand, but was shocked when Makanu's hand was raised. Ranpu looked at his teammate, praying that he wouldn't quit. Ibiki observed the boy, wondering was he going to quit or what. He got his answer when the boy slammed his hand on the table. You think I'm some punk who's going to quit when faced with a problem? I'll take this problem, even if I have to sacrifice my dream of becoming one of the best Chunin in the village. Even if I'm a Genin forever, I'll still become a Chunin. You can count on it. I'm not scared. Give me the damn question, Makanu yelled out. Ranpu was relieved. He might be an idiot, but he sure as hell has guts. I'll give him that. Akuru gave him a look of admiration. You're willing to sacrifice your goal for just a test. You sure are brave, Makanu. Ibiki looked at the kid. Just like him. I repeat, do you want to take the question or not? This decision will have an impact on your life. So if you want to quit, now is your chance. Makanu shook his head. I'm not a quitter. If I fail, it won't be because I quit, so give the question already. Ibiki surveyed the room to see if anyone else was going to raise their hand. He could tell that they weren't. Interesting, so no one wants to quit, eh? I haven't seen anything like this since Uzumaki took the exam. This kid gave them all confidence that they didn't have. This should prove to be an interesting Chunin exam. Ibiki took a few steps forward, then glanced at each of the proctors who all gave their approval. I guess there's no sense of dragging it out any longer. Ibiki addressed the examinees. I like your determination, and so for the first exam, you all pass. Futaki stood up. Wait, what do you mean we passed? What happened to the 10th question? Displaying a goofy grin, Ibiki laughed. There never was one, well, not in the sense you're probably thinking. Suki, the Cloud Kunoichi, stood. Wait a minute, if there was no 10th question, then what about the other 9 questions? That's easy. It tested your ability to gather information without getting caught. Why do you think I said act like a first-rate shinobi? Cheating was permitted. The majority of you caught on to this, and those of you who are smart found ways to copy from others. Add that to the fact that I had 3 Chunins taking the test for you guys to cheat off of helped a lot too. You're here, so obviously you did a good job. Add to it than those that were kicked out of the exam, Ibiki informed the girl. Ibiki removed his bandana. Information is important, and gathering can be vital. How you gather it and the validity of your sources can cause a mission to succeed or fail. That's why the 9 questions were so important. In order to gather information, sometimes you have to go behind enemy lines and gather it without getting caught. Suki sat back down. Oh, well, I guess that does make sense when you explain it like that. But what about the 10th question? What was the purpose for that? The 10th question was the most important part of the test. Allow me to explain. The 10th question was a take or not take choice. It was a 2-choice option problem. On one hand, you have the option to not take the problem, fail, then take it again next year when the odds are in your favor. On the other hand, you can choose to take it, and if you get it wrong, you would not be permitted to take the test again. This is where most people got scared and decided to take the first option and quit. Let's look at it like this. Say you were a Chunin and your mission was to go into enemy territory and retrieve a secret document. You know nothing of the enemy's abilities, and the geographical layout is new to you, so everything is an uncertainty. What are you going to do? Are you going to accept the mission or not? Just because your life and the life of your teammates are in danger, will you be able to avoid life-threatening missions? The answer is no. Ibiki paused before continuing. Missions always carry risk that can't be avoided. However, the courage to accept knowing that regardless if the situation is good or bad is what is sought in a Chunin and a squad leader. Those who give up when the situation doesn't go their way or choose to wait until next year because of the uncertainty of the question doesn't have the right to be Chunin. Those of you who chose to remain answer the 10th question correctly, because you know what it takes to be a Chunin, and whatever difficulties that come your way, you will stand and face it. The first Chunin exam is ended. I wish you all luck. I'm surprised though, it's been 6 years since I've seen this many Genin go on to the second exam. Also, he looked at Makanu. It's been that long since I've seen a shinobi not afraid to remain a Genin and give courage to others. You remind me of him. Makanu wondered. I remind you of who? The only person to ever pass the first test of the Chunin exam without writing a single answer for the first part. Naruto Uzumaki, Ibiki said. Rato's attention was now on Ibiki when he heard that name. He spoke in a low voice. The Golden Fox. Makinu turned to Rato. Golden Fox? Who is that? The shinobi from Rock and Rain couldn't believe that this kid had no idea who Naruto Uzumaki was. That name was synonymous with death in their countries. Ibiki spoke. One of the most feared ninjas in the world. Enough about that. You guys are to take the second exam. In a whirl of wind, Ino appeared before Ibiki. Ibiki whispered, "You're on time." Ino smiled at the group. "My name is Ino Yamanaka, and I'll be the proctor for the second exam." Nero jumped up. "Hell yeah, we got a hot chick overseeing our exams." Some guys started whistling and doing cat calls until Ino raised her chakra to a point where it was giving off enough killer intent to scare them. Well, most anyway. She looked at Nero. "I'm flattered that you think I'm attractive, but if any of you ever disrespect me again, you won't be taking the exams. Your families will be paying their respects to your mutilated corpse." Makinu, who also thought she was attractive, gave her a terrified look. Cute and deadly, she reminds me of Akuru and Futaki when they're mad. Ino decided to continue. "Well, it seems there are 84 Genins left, which means that there are 28 teams left. It doesn't matter, the second exam will slice that number in half." Ibiki stepped up next to Ino and spoke in a low voice. "So, is this Lady Okage's doing? She put you in charge. I'm assuming your squad is going to be patrolling Area 44? Yes, Lady Okage wants to make sure nothing goes wrong in this exam. My squad is to make sure of that," Ino informed Konoha's head of the torture division. "Well, I'll leave them in your hands, Ino. If I were you, I would keep track of that Cloud Squad. Something about those kids. Just watch them, okay?" Ibiki informed Ino. Ino nodded. "Understood, Ibiki-sensei." Ino, who was looking at the Genin, called out, "Okay, everyone, follow me." Ino exited the room with students filling out in an orderly fashion behind her. 30 minutes later, Ino was standing next to a gated fence that housed a forest. Behind it was a group of Genin. Standing sideways, the blonde Jonin looked at the group. "This is where the second exam would be taking place tomorrow. This is the 44th training area, also known as the Forest of Death. The reason I'm telling you this now is so there will be no excuses of not knowing where to go. You all know how to get here. You are all dismissed. You are to report here at 9 a.m. sharp tomorrow morning." The Genin started to walk off. Makinu, who was next to Ranpu, said, "Well, that place sure looks scary as hell. I wonder what the next exam will be." Ranpu shrugged. "I don't know, beats me. All I know is you better be ready." Makinu waved him off. Yeah. Kuru, what do you think of that forest?" "It looks terrifying, but if we stick together like Sensei said, then we should be okay," Akuru said, reassuring her team and herself. The rock ninja that confronted Makinu was standing in front of Squad 4 with his squad. "Bunch of rookies, I should kick your ass for earlier." Makinu was about to step forward when Akuru stepped in front of him. "Look, we aren't trying to start any trouble. We all had a long day, and we would like to enjoy it." The brown-haired female of the rock squad laughed at the girl. "Playing peacemaker because you're weak?" Ranpu walked through the group, and his team followed suit. When they got a couple of feet away, he stopped. "I advise you to stay away from us. We went easy on you guys earlier. Next time, we won't be so nice." The black-haired, black-eyed male that Makinu made look foolish was about to attack the group when their backs turned. However, the other black-haired, brown-eyed male in his squad stopped him. He shook his head. "You'll get your chance. I want that Hyuga kid though. If that kid is fast, I can only imagine how good the Hyuga is." He looked at his teammate. "Ishi, you think they're that strong?" Ishi nodded. "Yes, Ranga. No more confrontations. Save it for the tournament." "You too, Irasu." Irasu, the brown-haired, brown-eyed female, nodded. "Understood. Let's tour this village." The team all agreed to that and headed out. Okage Tower. Tsunade was sitting at her desk, and Sasuke Uchiha was before her. Before saying anything to the Uchiha, she sat there quietly. Tsunade opened her mouth. "So, Kamoko attempted to attack her. Sakura informed me of this. I should have kept a closer eye on her. I'll assign Rock Lee to her." Sasuke spoke up. "If I may, I would like to be her bodyguard again." Tsunade gave him a curious stare. "May I ask why that sudden change of heart?" "I don't know why. Maybe because I saw a little of..." Sasuke closed his eyes and saw an image of Itachi's Mangekyo flash before him. Opening them slowly, he said, I understand your fear. So, will you allow me to watch over the girl? Tsunade leant back in her chair. She already knew she was going to say yes, but she wanted to make him sweat. So, I was right about her. She looked at Sasuke and said, I will grant you this favor on one condition. You are to be with her at all times, which means Temari and Hayami will be staying with you at your compound. Don't think that's all. Yumi is part of the equation as well. I'm certain that Cloud Ninja will come after her as well. So, do you accept that condition? Sasuke nodded. Yes, have them at my compound by 8 p.m. tonight. If that's all, you're dismissed, Tsunade said. Sasuke turned and walked off. Tsunade was glad that the Uchiha was finally doing something for somebody else. This was definitely for the good. However, her door bursting open wasn't. Stop this, Konohamaru. Tsunade mentally slapped her head. Not today. Konohamaru pointed at Tsunade with Moigi, Udon, and Hanabi standing behind him. Moigi and Udon were actually trying to calm him down. Hanabi, on the other hand, was watching in amusement. Pointing at Tsunade, he yelled, Hey, you old hag, why haven't you sent me on any awesome missions yet? And I don't mean guard duty, I mean something challenging. Look, you brat, there is no awesome missions, as you call them. I got a couple C rank and a tons of D rank. Most of the B rank missions are already taken. You want to do something? Go train. Tsunade said, hoping the boy would leave her alone. I did that already. The Phoenix-loving bastard of a sensei did that already. I want a mission, Konohamaru yelled out. Tsunade didn't know what to do with the boy. She could assign him to cleaning the monument. She could give him babysitting. Nope, those would all resort to more complaining. Didn't you have 2 decent missions led by Kakashi and Senjuro? Konohamaru thought about it. Well, yeah, but nothing. Look, I can't give you all of the hard missions or the interesting ones. I have other shinobi. You're not the only shinobi in the Leaf Village, Konohamaru. Maybe you'll understand this when and if you become Hokage, Tsunade said. But since you're not Hokage, you have to take what I give you. You want a mission so bad? I got one for you. Tsunade started looking through her paper pile. Udon was praying that it was nothing horrible. Moigi was also praying the same thing. And I'll be wondering why the hell she was here with this idiot. Tsunade pulled out a piece of paper. Okay, I just got a request for a delivery to Wave Country. Normally I wouldn't send Fort Chunin during a time like this and all, but I'm sure you all can handle it. Since you wanted this mission, you're in charge, kid. This mission is C rank, and I expect you to succeed. The person you are to meet up with is a kid about your age named Inari. You leave in an hour. I'll see you all when you return. Now, get out of my office. Moigi and Udon didn't waste any time leaving. Hanabi exited slowly. Konohamaru was about to exit, but Tsunade called him back. Konohamaru, close the door. I need to speak to you in private. Konohamaru closed the door, then walked back over to the front of her desk. What do you want to speak to me about? Look, I know you want to prove yourself, but you don't have to. Taking on missions is great, but that's why we have other ninjas as well. Konohamaru, you can show your strength without showing it, Tsunade informed the boy. Wise words, was all he said. Smiling, she responded. I know, they are grandfathers. My squad, Orochimaru and Jiraiya, we always wanted to prove ourselves, so we would demand the toughest of missions. Your grandfather would refuse us, and we would knack him, much like you do me. He said that to all of us once, and now I understand what it means. So, I'm telling you the same thing. I understand, Lady Tsunade, but I have to prove myself. Do you know what it's like to always be in the shadow of your grandfather, who happens to be the 3rd Hokage? And the man heralded as the god of shinobi, he asked the Hokage. He didn't realize that she understood better than anyone. Of course I know what it's like, being the granddaughter and grandniece of the 2 who built the Leaf Village. I had to go through what you went through. When I was your age, it was always honorable granddaughter or Princess Tsunade. It made me sick. That's why I tried proving myself. Then your grandfather's words started to sink in, and instead of trying to prove myself, I just tried to do my best. Eventually the shadow that my grandfather cast over me faded, and I became known as the Slug Princess, a member of the legendary Sannin, and the 5th Hokage, Tsunade. I have no doubt that the shadow that looms over you will fade in time. Konohamaru was thinking about what she said. He could only hope that the shadow would fade. But maybe if he worked hard, then one day it would. Trying to face death was probably not the right way to go about it, when he actually thought about it. Thank you, old hag. You give good advice. A vein appeared on the 5th's forehead. Get out of my office before I send you to the hospital. Konohamaru rushed out of the room quickly. Tsunade sat at the edge of her desk, smiling at the boy. Senjuro had informed her that Konohamaru was coming along well, and that in a few more years he would be an excellent ninja. He told her that the boy had a dream to become Hokage. She decided to talk to his first sensei, Ebisu, and came to discover that he had always had that dream. Ebisu actually informed her that he was dedicated to getting better. When most was settled, Konohamaru was looking for ways to increase his skill. Patience, Konohamaru. I have no doubt that you will take on the title, Hokage. Tsunade looked at her hand and balled it into a tight fist. She would have to be alive, and to make sure that came to pass though, Sasuke would become the 6th, and well, that didn't sit well with her, not at all. Inside the village, Senjuro was sitting with his squad inside the barbecue shack. He decided to treat them and celebrate their win. You guys passed the first exam. I'm proud of you. Hey sensei, I have a question, Wagner said. No, you can't take off your weight, Senjuro stated. That's not it. I want to know who this Naruto Uzumaki is, Wagner asked. Senjuro was caught off guard by the question. He collected himself. Why do you want to know about Naruto? Ranpu, who was sitting next to his sensei, asked. Do you know who he is, sensei? Yes, I know who he is. He's a very strong ninja, and he was once a shinobi of Konoha, Senjuro informed the group. But let's drop the topic of Naruto. I want to know more about your second exam, Senjuro said with a little excitement. Akuru, who was sitting across from her sensei next to Ranpu, spoke up. It's at the 44th training area. Ino didn't inform us about the test, but she said it would be tomorrow. Senjuro stroked his chin. The 44th training area. A bit of advice. No matter what, stick together. Ranpu gave Senjuro a weird look. Do you know something about the second exam, sensei? Yes, but I can't tell you about it. Just take my advice and you guys should be fine. He had hope that his group would remain calm. The second exam was tough. He brought his squad as far as he could in 6 months' time. He was certain that they were ready. They would have to be if they wanted to survive. Suna, 6:30 p.m. It's been half an hour since Naruto and company arrived at the office of the Kazekage. Naruto, Rin, and Sasuke exited Gaara's office. Sasuke and Rin were the first to exit. Naruto, however, stopped when Gaara called out his name. Turning back to look at his friend, Naruto waited for Gaara to speak. Gaara watched him with his usual stern look. Are you sure about this, Naruto? Naruto nodded to Gaara. Gaara walked up to Naruto and offered his hand for the man to shake. Be careful, Naruto. Naruto flashed Gaara his foxy grin. Aren't I always? Sometimes I wonder, Gaara said, which caused Naruto to laugh. You're funny when you're sarcastic, but in all seriousness, don't worry about me, and thanks for sending Tamaru to watch over Hayami and Yumi. What are friends for? Gaara said. Well, Gaara, I'll see you soon. Naruto exited the office. Rin and Sasuke were waiting for the boy. Before the group exited the village, Naruto looked at Rin. I think it's time we head our separate ways. You guys know what you have to do. I, on the other hand, will head to a friend's place. Are you sure you're going to be okay, Naruto? Sasuke asked out of concern for her friend. Of course, you guys should head out now. The two women nodded and vanished. Now that they're gone, I need to get to Naya and have her find Pervy Sage. I know he was in Leaf, and I need to know the situation there. I want to get in the village without causing any ruckus. The blonde shinobi walked out of the village and into the vast desert. Night was falling on the desert, and Naruto knew this would be to his advantage. He would be able to lose them, but if he couldn't, then he would crush them. Naruto headed northeast of Suna at top speed through the desert. A ninja in an Anbu mask spoke into his communicator. Sir, I've spotted the target. He's heading northeast. Within a matter of seconds, 4 Anbu members appeared next to the Anbu. The captain of the squad spoke. Let's follow him, but keep your distance. We'll wait until we are out of wind country to attack him. Everyone understood their mission. Uzumaki had to be taken out. The group of Anbu pursued the unsuspecting Naruto. Naya's place. Naya had completed her seal long ago. She was constantly making modifications, but right now she was sitting at her kitchen table, sipping on some sake. Hearing footsteps coming towards the kitchen, Naya looked towards the entranceway to see Kaito, leaning with his arm against the wall. What's got you worried? Kaito asked out of concern for his friend. I'm worried about Naruto, Naya said as she took another sip of her sake. The kid should be okay. I heard earlier from one of my contacts that he was heading towards Suna with 2 females, one with orange hair and the other with brownish red. But it does unnerve me to see you sitting here like this. Usually you're not worried about anything, the blue-haired missing ninja pointed out. Putting her cup down, Naya gave him an intense gaze, which is why it should be a cause for concern. If your contact has such information, who's to say that Root or Bolt doesn't have the same knowledge? Root? Kaito said, looking at her weird. She explained, it's a division of Anbu ran by a warhawk by the name of Danzo. Like the name implies, the Root is hiding from all and protect the tree that is Konoha, and do what is must needed to ensure the survival of Konoha. He always saw my skill as a valuable asset, which is why he tried to get me to join his legion, trying to get me to his vision for Konoha. If I know Danzo, the reason he had his squad tell me it had to do with me and Naruto. Let me guess, Naruto is something that has grown beyond the Leaf's control, and he wants to take him down before he increases any further. Kaito waited to get a response. Nodding, she replied, yes, I'm almost certain that they are tracking Naruto. The only question is where the hell Naruto is, also where he's heading. Kaito gazed at the ground deep in thought. If he's in Suna, then he's probably going to see that Shukaku kid. Why Suna though? After 4 months of no communication with any of us, you head to Suna? What are you up to, Fox? Kaito wondered. River Country, 9 p.m. Naruto, who was hopping from tree to tree, discovered that he was being followed. Shit, I knew I was being tailed, but this is ridiculous. Moving from branch to branch, the blonde shinobi could see that after jumping from the previous branch, he was now entering a grass field. As soon as his feet touched down on the grass vegetation, Naruto accelerated forward. After running for a good 3 to 5 minutes, Naruto stopped in the middle of the field. Looking up to see the half moon and the star-filled sky, Naruto brought his head back down, with his eyes closed. When he opened his eyes, he saw an Anbu from Konoha in front of him. He looked to his left to see that there was one there, and then he looked to his right to see 2 more there. Turning around enough just in case the one in front of him tried to attack, he saw one behind him. He turned back to the one in front of him and cracked a smile. You guys finally caught up to me, so what now? The Anbu spoke left. Either you can stand there and die, or fight and die. The choice is yours. Well, I guess we already know how this one's going to play out. Naruto slowly went into his holster and pulled out 2 kunai. The Anbu member in front of him tried to assess the logic of pulling out 2 kunai instead of the 2 swords that were on his back. He needed to know. I'm curious, Uzumaki. Why do you not use your swords? You're at a disadvantage with those kunai against shinobi of our skill. Naruto shook his head. Fool, if I drew any of these swords, it would spell the end for you all. Also, I need some answers, so I'll keep one of you alive. I know Granny didn't send you guys after me. It doesn't matter who sent you. I have somewhere to be, so if any of you are going to attack, please do it now. You're overconfident, aren't you, Naruto? The shinobi before him said. Confidence is never a bad thing. Cockiness is. I just have one question before we get started. Why me? Little did Naruto know, snakes made of ink were slithering in the grass behind him. Hiding behind a rock a couple of yards away, the masked Anbu is trying to catch Naruto off guard. He doesn't seem too smart, the commander wants him to talk, and he's falling right into it. Naruto waited, and then the member of Root standing before him spoke. You know why. Your strength has grown beyond what can be controlled. You are a danger to the Leaf Village and everyone in it. It is our duty to protect the great tree that is Konoha, even if we are not seen or heard. We exist only to protect the village. We are no names, just tools used to protect Konoha. Naruto is getting tired of this rambling. Instantly he saw the man crack a smile, but when he realized what had happened, it was already too late. The ink snakes had wrapped around his body. What the hell? Naruto said as he struggled. The group drew their swords. The captain spoke. Our objective is to kill you. We didn't come here to duke it out if it wasn't necessary. You lose, Uzumaki. You're an elite shinobi, and you act like a genin. I don't know why you're feared by many. This is pathetic. Naruto started laughing. Pathetic? Maybe I did say I was going to leave one of you alive, and I meant that. I could end this fast, but that would just illustrate how pathetic you are, so I won't. However, the group realized what was about to happen. Shit, it's going to blow. Get out of the way, the one that was on the clone's left said. When the clone exploded, a big Cloud dust covered the area, blinding everyone to what was going on. Each Anbu member was now separated from one another. Sai was still behind the rock. According to him and everyone else, they still had the advantage. Backing up slowly, one of the Anbus was looking around frantically. Before said Anbu could register anything, he was holding his throat as blood spewed from it. Naruto faded back into the cloud of dust. When the dust cleared, they found one of their members with their throat slit. Realizing the situation, the group knew that they couldn't take him lightly. He was good, far better than they expected. One of the members was standing by himself, looking all around. He turned to his captain, who was a distance away. "Hey captain, where the hell is he? One of us is down and we have no clue to where he's at." The captain was curious too. "This kid, I really underestimated him, but where is he? That smoke screen was superb but effective. He did take out one of us, but he's nowhere in sight. I know it wasn't a clone who did the killing, it was Uzumaki. Think, where would I be?" In that instance, it dawned on him. "Get out of here!" Before he could call out to his man, the kid was swallowed by the ground. Acting immediately, the captain did quick hand seals and slammed his hand on the ground. The area turned into mud. In the midst of the mud, he saw Naruto struggling. Now was his chance. He did a few more hand seals and pressed into the ground. The ground started to turn hard, and Naruto, who was caught in it, was struggling to get free. "I can't breathe," Naruto said as he was gasping for air. "I know, you're now stuck in the ground, and the mud will eventually harden into stone, and it'll continue to harden, eventually crushing you. I call this jutsu a progressive cementation. It is an effective counter for those who use underground earth jutsu. The cement will get harder and harder until you suffocate. There is no escape. Once caught, the root member was happy to see Naruto struggle. "You can come out now. We have him already," the captain called out to the masked man behind the rock a few yards away. The root member was taking longer than usual, and he was wondering why. Not thinking anything of it, he called him again. "You can come out now. Our objective is complete." The squad member still didn't come out. He then turned to his squad member when he heard sound. He was shocked to see the member falling to the ground with blood squirting from his chest, and Naruto standing in front of him with one of the swords that was on his back, the one with the black and orange hilt to be exact, in his right hand, dripping with the blood of the root member who died before he hit the ground. He turned back to the rock to see his comrade with a sword pressed against his throat. "I wasn't lying when I said I was going to kill you guys, and only leave one of you alive." The captain tensed up as he felt something sharp and cold rest on the left side of his neck. When he turned his head slightly, it was Naruto, and the sword in his hand was pressed on the man's neck. Stuttering, but how did you escape? "You guys aren't very smart. I saw those ink snakes coming at me when I turned to look at the ninja behind me. Well, my clone, anyway. It would have been foolish to go after you guys head on, not knowing what you had planned, especially since I didn't want to beat you guys without getting any answers. I will admit that progressive cementation was impressive. You're right, there is no escaping that, had I got caught. Once I found out where the guy over there was, taking away your ace in the hole would put you guys in a tight spot. Look at where your friend's body is. Remember, that's where my clone dropped the 2 kunai when you caught him," Naruto informed the guy, not taking his eyes off of him for a minute. "You mean to tell me that?" Ninja figured it out. "Correct. My clone was holding 2 clones that hinged into kunai. Transforming and hiding in the dust was easy for the clones. I knew it would allow me to take you 2 out," Naruto said to the ninja, who realized what he said. "Wait, don't!" Before he could say anything else, blood flew from his throat. When the ninja hit the ground, the 2 clones disappeared. The real Naruto released his sword from the root member's neck. The member of Danzo's personal brigade turned around to face Naruto, who spoke. "Depending on how you answer, I might let you leave here with no serious injury." "Well, I will tell you one thing. Lady Tsunade sent me on this mission," the masked said. Naruto couldn't believe what he was hearing until the shinobi continued. "She sent me on this mission to make sure that you would return back to Konoha alive." Removing his mask slowly, Naruto saw this guy before. "You're the one who was with Kakashi and Sasuke that day on the training grounds. Who are you?" The root member introduced himself. "My name is Sai. Those men that you took out were all a part of Root. You did an excellent job taking them out, but Danzo won't stop until he has your head. He will continue to send shinobi at you, and that's why I'm here. I used to work under Danzo. Actually, I still do, but my loyalties lie with the Hokage." Naruto didn't know what to make of this, but he held his sword firm, and still. So, there's someone inside the leaf walls with access to his own personal envoy squad, trying to take me out. Am I feared that much? Yes, seeing your level of skill, I would say rightfully so. However, Lady Tsunade has ordered me to stay at your side until you head back to the village. She felt that you might need some help out here, so I was surprised to see Naruto turn his back on him and walked off, leaving the guy by himself. No thanks, tell Granny thanks for the lookout, but where I'm going, you can't go. Sai appeared in front of Naruto, stopped. The staring contest only lasted for a few seconds. Look, Naruto Uzumaki, I'm your only friend out here. You think it ends here? Root isn't the only one after you. Intelligence is gathered. Bolt is also after you. I'm sure you're good, but not even you want to keep confronting ninja of that caliber. Naruto flashed him a smirk. Actually, I think it would be a good practice, but you're telling me something I already know. I know Bolt is after me. It tells me one thing though. That would be, Sai asked out of curiosity for the answer. He sees me as a threat, which means he might even be a little scared at what I'm capable of. You shouldn't worry about me. I'm a big boy. I can take care of myself. Naruto continued to walk until Sai grabbed his arm. Sai smiled. Sorry, but I can't leave you. Lady Tsunade's orders. Naruto didn't care. He just started to walk off. Sai caught up and started to walk next to him. So, are we heading back to the Leaf? No. Let's make a deal. Wait for me in the town about 30 miles north of here. I'll meet you there at 12 noon. Where I'm going, you can't come, Naruto told Sai. Sai didn't quite understand, but he said, whatever, I'll be waiting for you. Where are you going anyway? Not realizing what Naruto was doing, Naruto brought his hand up, the index finger and middle finger closing together, pointing up with a word. Sai didn't have enough time to react. A bright light blinded his vision. When he regained his vision, Naruto was gone. Sai was standing on the grass field alone. Fuck, he caught me off guard. Now I can't return to the village without having Danzo trying to assassinate me. He's been suspicious of me for quite some time. However, I have to get going. Someone's coming, and I'm certain that it's Bolt. Using the techniques he learned, Sai blurred out of sight. 5 minutes after he was gone, members of Cloud's Bolt landed. Surveying the area, one spoke. It seems that there was a battle here, recently. One of the ninjas discovered the bodies of the dead ninjas. Konohamaru's Onbu, what the hell is going on? The captain of the squad responded. I guess we're not the only ones after Uzumaki. We'll end our search. We probably won't catch him, and even if we did, I'm not sure it would be wise to engage him. Why do you say that, sir? One Bolt member asked. Look at what he did to these 4 Onbu members. We may have our differences with Konoha, but one thing that I've always respected about the village was that it has always produced strong shinobi. Hell, their Onbu division is among the elite of the 5 great nations Black Ops. I do not doubt our skill, but I do wonder what type of power he holds that allowed him to kill close to 300 shinobi, and have Lord Raikage worried. His question has caused everyone to think about it. The captain broke the silence. We're not pursuing him. We will head back to Kumo and inform the Raikage what has transpired. We will go from there. The Bolt group left just as quickly as they came. The captain of the squad was thinking as they headed northeast. You send us on a mission that was a suicide mission. Why? Judging by that scene, he played with them. Why not send Koen or Kadan after him? They seem like only feasible people. Something isn't adding up. Why did Naruto Uzumaki take precedence over an entire village? Is he really that dangerous, or is it something else? I'll find out when I get home, in the woods. Naruto was moving at top speed. He would probably make it to Naya's in the next 2 hours, if he kept this up. He couldn't believe that he had to worry about Konoha now as well. He figured that Cloud would be after him, even though Rock and Rain wanted vengeance. He didn't want to chance it by sending more ninjas to their deaths. Naruto was deep in thought, so I have a division of Onbu that I never heard of about after me. To top that all off, Cloud is after me as well. I'm fucking public enemy number 1, as it's crazy. Pervy Sage probably knows what's going on. I'll meet up with him to find out what's going down. Naruto continued to move through the forest. Uchiha compound, 11 p.m. The head of the household found himself standing at the door staring at the little girl, who was hugging her stuffed fox animal. Sasuke observed the child, just watching her breathing. Just everything. It hadn't been long since she, Yumi, Tamari, and Mai came to his house. Actually, it was about 5 hours or so ago. Yumi wanted to stay close to the girl, but after some convincing from Tamari, Yumi took a room Sasuke assigned to her. She only agreed because she was right across the hall from the girl. In fact, everyone was close by each other. Everyone had their own rooms except Tamari and Hayami. Sasuke's house hadn't been this crowded since his thought was interrupted by Tamari, who had her hair down and her pajamas on. Alerted Sasuke when she got next to him. "Can I ask you something?" Never taking his gaze off the girl. "What is it?" "Why are you doing this? You treated her like a nuisance, so why take on the task of protecting her again?" Sasuke turned around to head off, but not before giving the Sanjinoichi a side glance. "I chose to, because I did." Tamari frowned at the Uchiha as he walked off. "Lies, Sasuke Uchiha. There's definitely a reason." Tamari entered the room. Sitting on the edge of the bed, she pushed back the covers and slid under them. She looked at the sleeping girl. She then slid her arms around the girl and pulled her close. The girl would be safe for now, but what would happen during the exams? Ayami snuggled closer to the girl and mumbled, "You're wrong, big brother Naruto. Chicken-flavored ramen is better than pork-flavored ramen." Is too. I like chicken better." Tamari couldn't help but smile at the girl who was arguing with that ramen-loving idiot. At least the girl wasn't having a nightmare. She was certain that she would be up in the middle of the night. "A calm before the storm" is what she said to herself. Tamari closed her eyes to escape to the dreamscape of hers. Tsunade's house. Sitting on the roof of the house, Tsunade, Shizune, and Senju were looking off into the night sky. Tsunade spoke. "So, your team made it. How do you think they'll fare in the forest of death?" Senju, who was sitting on Tsunade's right, gave his answer. "They're ready. I believe they'll make it to the tower. So, any word on Naruto yet?" "No. Hopefully my mole made contact with them," Tsunade said. "We can only hope, Lady Tsunade. Enough about that. I want to know more about Senju here in Yugao." Shizune gave her cousin a teasing look. Tsunade turned slightly, waiting for his response. "We're more than friends, that's for sure. She's someone that I care about a great deal of." Shizune was trying to tease him, but she saw the seriousness in which he addressed the matter. She was curious about Kurenai, but decided to leave it alone. That probably would have been a sore subject. Tsunade gave her son a quizzical gaze before saying, "So you took my advice, I see." "I guess. I did what was best, and Yugao was the better choice." "Mom, can I ask you something?" Senju asked. "What is it?" she asked. "Mom, I request to be by your side at the finals. Will you allow me to?" He waited for an answer. Tsunade responded, "No, I need your strength within the village." The golden brown-eyed Jonin voice elevated slightly. Tsunade raised her voice, showing her authority. "I said no, and that's final." She then gave the boy a soft look. "Look, I know you're worried about me, but I'll be fine. I was a ninja years before you were even born, and I've survived up until now, right? Mom, I just want to protect me? You're forgetting whose job it is to protect who. It's a mother's job to protect her son. So, you'll do what I tell you? I know you, Senju. Promise me you'll be wherever I assign you." Tsunade asked the man who turned away, avoiding her gaze. In a low tone, "I promise." Touching his shoulder slightly, "Thank you. You know we don't get to do this as often as we used to," Tsunade pointed out. "I know. Before you went on missions, we used to do this all the time," Shizune stated. "Yeah, those were good times," Senju said, causing everyone to agree with him. Back then, everything seemed so much simpler. He looked over to his mother, who was looking at the stars. He didn't agree with her decision, but he respected it. Regardless of what she said, he was going to make sure she was okay, even if it meant his life. Naya's place, 2 a.m. Naya was laying in her bed. It was a nice and comfortable bed, and it was even more so when she had strong arms wrapped around her. Naya liked most shinobi slept light, so when she heard a light sound, she turned to Kaito, whose eyes were wide open. With a nod, the two got out of bed. Naya motioned with her hand for Kaito to go first. Kaito was in the hallway against the wall, and Naya followed soon after. Standing before him, Kaito motioned with his hand for her to move into the living room on the signal, counting down with his hand from 3 when he reached 1. The 9 Kaito entered the room in a fighting stance, only to stop when they saw Naruto sitting on the top of the couch, with his feet inside the cushions and his sword resting on its arms, which were crossed. Looking up at the two, he said, "Sorry to interrupt, but we need to talk." Kaito and Naya looked at one another, then back at Naruto. They wouldn't be getting any sleep tonight. So much for a good night's rest.